Awesome, awesome. So I'm just going to hit the recording on here, and I'm going to do the honors to introduce you to our visitors here for the evening, and for those who might be tuning into the recording as well. Hey guys, this is a very casual session now, and even if you guys were not invited, right, I would have picked Patric Chan's brain on my own already. So this is inevitable. Okay, so without getting too carried ahead, let me just do a quick introduction for those of you who have not heard of Patric Chan before. So I know some of you came in from the Facebook group, some of you are from the email list and things like that. All right. Now, for us fellow Malaysians, you may have heard of Patric Chan before, and this might sound like a name you've heard for a long time and with a very good reason. So Patric Chan is a long-time internet marketer, and he started in the year 2004. Correct, not Patric? 2004, right?
Somewhere around that 2003.
Yeah, I remember 2003, 2004 as well, somewhere there. For the record, I came in like 1 or 2 years later in the year 2005. So you have to understand, back in the day, right, everybody was trying to figure things out, but Patric had sort of a lead advantage with a very good reason. So since then, right, Patric has sold a lot of info products. I think you can stop counting. No, there's no need to count there. He sold a ton of it. We lost count. And just as important as well as that, he has spoke at a lot of physical live events. This was way before the pandemic happened, okay? And he's written quite some best-selling books. And if by any chance any of you are into network marketing, right, he has been very stellar over there. He's been to the top leader as well. And it's very unusual for internet marketers because we are very introverted people. And yet he went into a very people-based business, right? And by the power of the internet, he raised himself all the way to the top. And in the recent times, he's been into NFTs as well. So you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of achievement and a lot of things for just one person, right? And that's also the reason why I brought him on board. A lot of people are very envious of his achievements, but if you ask me personally, I'm envious of his height. Let me show you guys a quick picture over here, just for the fun of it. All right. You know, when I talk about Patric Chan, or when I endorse Patric Chan and all that, right? One of the parts where I spend more time editing is not the marketing materials or anything like that, but I actually have to edit the picture. Like, see, like how tall this guy is. He's like very tall. All right. So of course, some people may be envious of his achievement. I'm personally envious of his height, but we're not here to be envious of anyone. I think the reason we're all here is because while we cannot change our height, we can change our financial future. And that's the reason why I brought Patric here on board. So our topic or the theme for the evening is very simple. The 3 hottest trends that he foresee will happen in the next 3 years. And how many of you agree with me that if you have some kind of foresight into the nearby years, right, that will help your business a lot. So if you think that will really help you, please type number 3 into the chat box right now. Okay. Now, obviously, Patric Chan is not here to predict the next pandemic, but what he can do is that he can rely on his business acumen to perhaps guide all of us here, because I believe that all of you here right now, you're not here for the fun of it. You're here because you're a business owner like us. You are probably stuck somewhere, or maybe you are anxious for the future as well. And I gotta admit, you know, especially in the last couple of years, a lot of things have happened to me and my team and the people that I know as well. So what's going to happen right now is that I think enough in the introductions. We know quite enough about Patric. I'm going to pass the time to him. And Patric, I believe you have something to share as well in terms of slides, right?
Right. So first of all, thank you for introducing me to your audience. I truly appreciate that, and it's an honor to be here, especially when I get to know that no one get the chance to be with you in a Zoom, and this is probably like the first time. So I'm very honored for that, and I also know some of your story of how you got started, and it's very inspiring. I believe you were still in university when you first got started, and you got started with internet marketing. And I think that that is a very, very inspiring, and it was epic, especially being one of the early internet marketers in Malaysia at that time. So kudos to you for that, Edmund. And I don't have any slides, to be honest with you. What we're going to do here is that I'm going to rely on 2 things: my experience for the past 2 decades or so on, and my knowledge that I've acquired since then. So we're going to go by that in that sense. And one of the reasons why I want to do this is because I want to spend the time to be here for you, as in I'm talking to your audience, not for me to talk about my slides, but to be here for you. And this is going to be like a conversation, and I'm going to allocate this probably 1 hour that we may have. I'll even do some Q&As if you have any of that. And by the way, if you see why I'm wearing cap, it's pretty straightforward. I just came back from playing basketball. I just had my shower and stuff like that, and I don't want to gel up my hair, and I'm gonna wash my hair and so on. You know, I'm gonna do all of those. So this is why I'm putting on my cap. It's just straightforward.
All right, that's awesome. So I think without further ado on this matter, right? Actually, my question is very straightforward in this case, but along the way, I may navigate along the way as well.
Sure.
We talked about the 3 hottest trends in this coming year. So if you're talking about, I'm not sure whether you'll start at 2022 because the year is going to be over in a few more months. Perhaps you're talking about 2023, 24, and 25. So relying on your foresight into the near future, where do you see us at in terms of the hottest trends that any one of us can capitalize on?
Good question. I think that we need to take into account of the pandemic. So we're going through what we call a post-pandemic. But to be more precise, the pandemic has actually changed the entire landscape of doing online marketing or online business, depending on how you look at it. So I think there are 3 very critical trends that would shape how you should be building a business from here onwards. So the first one is that everything has gone e-commerce. When I say the word e-commerce, I'm not referring to e-commerce store, and we'll talk more about e-commerce store later on. And that itself has changed. The entire trend has changed. Whoever who is still doing the typical e-commerce will be wiped out of business. They're going to get very small share of the e-commerce sales down the road. Again, remember that part, and I will bring it back again. If I've forgotten about it, you can always ask me to bring it up because there's no slides here. So let's talk about e-commerce. When I use the word e-commerce, I'm referring to transactions. E-commerce is basically a way of how you express transactions on the internet, which means every business will need to get into the world of e-commerce, as in they need to start selling online, even offline business. So I would assume that the audience here, we have a mixture of those in Malaysia, Singapore, and maybe from outside of this region. But let's look at Malaysia, because right now, as we are doing this live class, at this kind of time right now, I will assume most of you are within this region. Like when you order food, nowadays you use your phone to call for Grab Food or Food Panda, or whatever panda, rhinoceros, whatever animals that you call to order your food. The point is that, right, gone were the days that you need to drive out to the cafe and so on to buy food. You can literally get food done through your phone right now. Do you see that? This is a entirely changed the landscape of doing business. Imagine that you are a shop. Let's say you are just like in our local place, there's this hawker where they sell noodles. Imagine that they did not adapt towards technology. They did not adapt towards e-commerce. After you've eaten the noodle, you want to use your phone and pay through online, as in like using GrabPay or Touch and Go. And this hawker say, you know, I don't know how to do e-commerce, right? Now, the business is going to be affected. What I'm trying to bring into light here is that the realization must come in that there's no way not to be involved in e-commerce anymore. And it is beyond the typical e-commerce store. In another word, everyone, of course, not everyone, but in this context, everyone is now buying online or using their phone to purchase, to make payments. So that's the first thing. Now, how does this relate back to you? So if you have a business, you got to start getting your products online right now. It has to be e-commerce based, not about having a store, so to speak, but can someone make purchase of your products over the internet, right? So now, leading to e-commerce, as I was sharing with you, the e-commerce trend has changed drastically. You know, during the early days, not too early, let's say a few years ago before the pandemic, people are these gurus, e-commerce gurus and so on, they will teach you how to, say, set up a store, go to Shopify, open up a store and so on. Not all of those still work. But I think that the effectiveness is getting less and less and less. Why? Because if you want to sell products, e-commerce products, the real trend, it is going to marketplace. That is where the domination is. You as a single store, it is not going to get sales in comparison inside the marketplace itself. Now, let's just do a very simple exercise here. For those of you who purchase anything from Lazada or Shopee, would you mind typing there for me in a chat? What did you purchase in Lazada or Shopee? Just go ahead and do that. I just want to know what did you buy? New bed frame. You see where I'm coming from, right? So skincare. Now let's take, wow, so many stuff. Speaker, household. Let's look at this way. Let's say you have a skincare product, right? And you try to sell from your own store. Well, someone doesn't know your brand. They may buy, they may not buy. But for me, I would prefer to buy your skincare product if it's not branded. If it is inside Shopee, then Lazada. Why? Because I'm protected as a consumer. If I purchase through Shopee or purchase through Lazada, I know if anything goes wrong, I can go and complain to Lazada and Shopee, and the store will be removed, or I may even get back my money. But as an individual store, you don't have the advantage of credibility anymore. And that's just one of the little things that one of the little disadvantage that you have if you're not playing at a marketplace. Now I think I'm covering way too much here, right? So let's go back to the trend. So everyone follows what I've just shared so far. Like the first trend, it's everything has to be e-commerce.
Yeah, we're hearing you on that. So what, in summary, the first trend that we're looking at is e-commerce, but of course, I know to some of you, it might not sound that groundbreaking at the moment, but if you actually pay close attention to the nuances that Patric has said, right, it's not like a few years ago where you can just go on AliExpress, mark up the prices and expect to get away with it. I have to admit, I was one of those people, by the way, just did it for the fun of it. And I think the game was over when even your neighbor knows about AliExpress. And I think Patric Chan would have saw that a mile away.
Right. In fact, we actually shared this in the recent event that we did called Internet to Income 9, that I actually brought this up. And I explained why dropship business doesn't work anymore. Internet to Income Live, it's basically, we say my flagship training program, like a 2-day training program that I do for my customers and students. Each year I'll have like 1 or 2, but that's a whole different story. But the point is that I was sharing with them that dropship doesn't work anymore, because just think of it this way. If you were taking a product from a wholesaler and trying to sell, guess what? There are 100 other people who are also doing the same. And consumer behavior has changed. They have become smarter. Now, come on, let's face the fact. Before you buy a product, didn't you just go and do your own research first, or you simply go and buy? And even if you did not do any research, when you are buying in Shopee for that pencil, guess what? The same product will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is so obvious to you that, hey, why am I paying more? You see where I'm coming from? You have chosen the cheapest product, as in like the same product. You have choose the one that sells you at the lowest price because it's a commodity product. So the whole game of dropship, it's I don't want to say that it's over, because there will be all these e-commerce gurus that's going to argue with me till the cows come home. I'm not going to do that, but try and do it on your own accord, and then you will know what I mean.
Well, that's quite an insight already indeed. And hey guys, for those of you who are here, right, this is as I've mentioned at the start, if you have missed it, right, this is a casual sharing session. If you have any questions for Patric along the way, right, do just type in. But of course, let's keep it to the boundaries. Like for example, he was talking about e-commerce as the first trend, and before you jump into the next one and the one after, right, let's try to keep it within the topic if possible as well. And then towards the end, if you have if time allows or Patric is not in a hurry to leave, we can ask him anything. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pass the time back to Patric and let's continue.
So the second trend that has picked up drastically, it is none other than the e-learning industry. Some call it the knowledge-based industry, some call it the e-learning, but basically people are learning over the internet right now. Now, let's just look at some evidence. If you follow like share stocks, you know, Zoom share price goes up drastically during the pandemic. And one of the reasons is because they're getting so many sales, so many people are using online conference. In fact, we are using that right now, online conference. It means that many people are learning on the internet. But it is not just that. During the pandemic, people have started buying courses and learn on themselves. Some join coaching programs, some buy books and all this kind of stuff. But what really happens is this. The behavioral of learning has changed. Just imagine people in lockdowns for 2 years. Don't you think that behavioral has changed? Some people say it takes like 21 days to change a habit, but we are talking about 2 years right now. So when someone starts to learn on the internet, they are comfortable with it. Guess what happened? They'll continue to do that. And this is not something that I just guess. It is proven based on our own stats. Here's what happened. After the pandemic was over and they allow us to do classes again. So we did a workshop and we wanted to do it in a hotel and like in a venue offline and so on. So we started selling the tickets. And here's the most interesting part. The sales was slow. And then we improvised and I changed it to become a virtual workshop. Now get this, right? When I changed to virtual workshop, the sales pick up. How crazy is that? And the best part is the sales picks up and I was able to get customers from outside of Malaysia because it's not restricted through with the traveling and so on. And the best part is my expenses, my 5-figure cost of the venue and so on, logistic, team, crew, all of those just gone. All I needed was a Zoom. So I was making more money by getting more sales. I was making more money because I get to do savings. And the price of the ticket, the price of the workshop ticket did not change. How crazy is that? So that has been proven, the fact that people are not adapted towards that. So what does this mean to you? So how can you benefit from this trend? See, when I share with you all of this knowledge, some will get it and have a light bulb and says, this is it, right? Some will just say, I already know about this. So the same thing is that 1,000 people could read the same book. And yet there's only one person who become a millionaire by reading a book. And 999 people don't become a millionaire after reading a book. Because it depends on how you appreciate the knowledge, the insights that you get. And going back to this, you should be in the knowledge-based business right now. It doesn't mean that you need to go out there and create courses, create products and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that. It could be as simple as think of a passion, an interest, get into a niche market and start doing TikTok videos. Start doing videos and put inside YouTube and so on. Take baby steps. But the point is, you should get into the knowledge-based business as quickly as possible because this trend is not going away. Again, 2 years of lockdowns has completely changed how someone learn new knowledge and also the, I would say, the race to become better, to become more knowledgeable. Because end of the day, it is knowledge that will help you to become richer, wealthier, happier, and so on.
Right. Just want to interject for a while, Patric. I am definitely on the same page as you with everything you say. In fact, when you mentioned about the event that you had done, guys, I think some of you, at least one of you, were also there at Patric Chan's event in May 2022. This was at DoubleTree Hilton, if I'm not mistaken, in KL, which I was also among the attendants. And there were about 70+ people at the time. Well, to be fair, the borders and the lockdowns were just like starting to get released, and people were just cautiously coming out. And this is not a testament towards Patric Chan's skill as a marketer, because before that, 4 years before that, he would easily fill in like 200 and above people with the same skill. So it's not that his skill has changed or anything like that. It was the situation that has changed. And if you are doing seminars like even I did before the pandemic, you can't just look at doing it with the people and all that. You also have to look at logistics, which it's not easy. If you have done all those before, it can be very, very tiring. So even for me, I just did a webinar last Saturday with more than 100 people in attendance, and I was thinking to myself, if that was a physical event, I think the cost of everything would have been like a little bit more astronomical. So this is great news for every one of you here, because if you're thinking that, do I need to be a guru with a nice suit, stand on stage and things like that? The idea of showboating is a thing of a past right now. So we are embracing change along the way. But with that said, there's one person who asked a very interesting question by Eng, and I think we should also address it. Do you need to be a very pro before you share something? So Patric, what's your take?
Well, I don't think that you need to be a pro, but if you happen to be a pro, that would be a bonus. That's how I look at it.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more before we get to the third point afterwards. Because there was once upon a time that I was also a newbie, and I'm sure you were as well, Patric. We all started from the ground. We didn't start from up there. And so before we became an expert, before you became I know we all don't like the word guru, but other people call you a guru. So before you became a guru, right, you were once upon a time a nobody also, right? So what was the process like back then?
Okay, so there are two sessions. One is like the backstory, and the other one that if I'm not a pro, how do I do it? So let's start with, if I'm not a pro, how do I actually do it? Well, the first thing is that don't pretend to be a pro. Now, I'm not saying that to be funny or sarcastic and so on, but I'm just saying that because many people try to pretend to be the pro, and people will be able to figure that out. For instance, right? There are those who like to, example, in our industry, I've seen like ads and so on, they wear a suit, they like to, they like to look successful. And
I know, I'm one of them.
But the thing is that, right, some don't have that, and they like to do it that way. But it is not, if it's not your essence, it's just not. Let me just put it this way, right? People don't really care about how rich, how smart, how good looking, how fit, and all those that you have. People only care about what you can do for them to become richer, fitter, prettier, and so on. So that's one thing that we all need to understand. So long that you can communicate the message to them and say, hey, I can help you, I am the real deal, they don't care about you in that sense, right? So I know this is a bit hard to digest, but I just want you to understand that before we step to the next part. So now, when I talk about not being the pro, it's about you not saying that, hey, I know this, but you can always say, I know this because I learned from here. So you're not trying to say that this is my stuff, but you can say, for instance, right? So Edmund Lowe, a guru about creating digital products, right? So let's say if you learn from Edmund Lowe and you want to share about how to create digital product, then don't pretend to be the guru, but you can say, hey, I'm here to share with you about how to create digital product, and I've learned this from Edmund, and this is what I've learned. So what you're doing is that you are basically being more like a curator, or you are basically being someone who is summarizing the content to other people. And until you become pro, as in that you have the same results, then of course you can claim that expertise. But when you first start, right, it is just about being a curator, and that will be fine. And after all, that is the right thing to do. If you learn from someone, logically, you should pass the credit to someone. That you can see Edmund here, he's a very humble person. He doesn't brag and all this kind of stuff. If he learns from so and so, he shared that, hey, I've learned from so and so. It's so straightforward. So as long as that we're not trying to pretend to be the Mr. Know-it-all, then everything will be fine. And one more thing that I want to add on to this is something that I learned from Jack Ma. You see, when someone asks Jack Ma a question that he doesn't know, you know what does he answer? He said, I don't know. You see, there's nothing to lose by saying that I don't know. We don't have to pretend to have the answer to everything about this particular industry or this particular niche and so on. All right. And about me getting started. So I may bring a very good point that at one time, all of us are not gurus, all of us are not pro. So for me, I started way back in 2003. And I was a person who is very passionate about self-improvement, personal health. So I would attend a lot of seminars, I would read a lot of books, I'll spend money to buy books, go through courses, put on the cassettes, and now I'll try to learn all of this, right? Attend reviews, attend paid seminars.
That brings me back. Cassettes.
Yeah, cassettes, those tapes, DVDs. So I'm very passionate about all that. But I was just in my early 20s. I'm not an international speaker. I didn't speak in 12 countries. I didn't author 3 best-selling books. I didn't do any of that. I'm just a normal, ordinary person. So how I got started? Exactly the same formula how I just shared with you. I wasn't trying to teach people about success principles or success secrets. I was sharing what I've known, what I've learned from the best-selling authors and the speakers and so on. That's how I got started. And when I started doing that, my subscribers, my website visitors, they find so much value in that. And they can connect with me. And then I started doing recommendations to them. I started sharing other books with them. And I was sharing with them through my affiliate link. So when they go to other speakers' websites or other authors' websites, and then they start buying their stuff, I earn a piece of commissions from that. And all I was doing was recommending other people's product. But first, I built my credibility. I built my so-called expertise, but by not trying to be the success guru, by being someone who can share valuable information. Now, just to put things into perspective, how crazy the internet is. So this book is called 1 Minute Millionaire. If you are one of those OGs, you may have heard of this book. This is way back in 2002 or something like that. This book is authored by Mark Victor Hansen and Robert G. Allen. Mark Victor Hansen is the one who wrote the book Chicken Soup of the Soul that sold 155 million copies. It's one crazy. They sold millions of copies of the book. You can see what the color looks like. You see that? It's like almost 20 years, I think. And I read this book, and I would say that this book is a catalyst for me to build my internet business empire, because the formula here, the principle, the insights transform how I think, and also give me the idea how to get started. This book did not teach me how to create info product. This book did not teach me how to build a mailing list. This book doesn't teach me how to design a web page. It doesn't do, but just tell me the secret, like I'm telling you the secret, so to speak. Some people find that as common information. Some people find that as the secrets itself. So anyway, I get to meet Robert Allen in person, fast forward in the future, in 2010, and I got him to autograph the book. How crazy is that? I'm this little guy living in a small island of Penang, and I was able to meet the person who wrote the book called 1 Minute Millionaire, who transformed my life. And after that, I've already achieved some success on the internet. When I first started, I was nobody. And then years into the future, I become somebody, so to speak. And later on, Robert Allen actually co-authored a book together with me called Clicking Cash, and another best-selling book. You can see my face and Robert G. Allen here. And
what year was that, by the way?
The book, is it?
Yeah.
It's called Clicking Cash.
Sorry, the year of the book.
2012.
Wow. Hey guys, I just want to stop you guys here for a while and show you the importance of why when you see an opportunity, you need to grab it. Because when he mentioned those two names, Robert G. Allen, I did come across this man at one of the seminars in 2013. We were sharing the stage together, but even though I heard about him, I didn't register him as a big deal, and I literally sit next to him. And here is Patric over here, who got an autograph copy and even wrote a book together with him. So I think moral of the story, you can be sitting in front of the goal, but if you do not know how to do anything about it, it's as good as gone. So don't be like me, be like Patric. But of course, I learned my lesson after that. In 2017, I got to meet Mark Victor Hansen. At the very least, we got to take a picture together. All right, so I just want to end this funny story, but yeah, please carry on. This is very interesting.
Very interesting, right? So we got a book. We co-authored the book, and I'm proud to call Robert Allen my mentor. And since then, after that, I mean, before we co-authored the book in my self-improvement niche, I did interviews with some of the more successful authors and best-selling authors like John Ashraf, Mark Victor Hansen, all these big names. And me, this little guy who could not even pronounce English smoothly, fluently. So I'm bringing this up to you is to emphasize to you that the internet is insane. If you know how to tap on it, like you start doing something, one thing leads to nothing, another thing leads to nothing, and next thing you know, you become an internet millionaire. I know it sounds cheesy, but that is how it happens. It didn't happen when you say, all right, I'm going to go and become an internet millionaire. No, it happens when you say, I want to make 1,000 US dollar, right? And then you start doing one thing at a time, and then it leads to nothing. If I'm not mistaken, Edmund, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You started because you're trying to pay for your university fee or something like that, right? When you're studying and you're
okay, so I think this part needs a bit of clarity here. I've not been to uni before. The highest I've been to was partially through college, and at the time, this was 2004. Yeah, I was taking up CFP, or Certified Financial Planning. And at the time, maybe just like yourself, the 1-2 years before me, I heard about make money online. It always starts with that word, right? Make money online.
Right.
It always starts with those three words over there. And because my income as an office boy was quite little, and clearly no real estate, no stocks, forget about those. Those are too far away and beyond the comprehension of an 18-year-old. So I took a chance. It's either I continue the CFP, the other half, or I took a chance with the online business. So didn't graduate from college even. that was what happened.
Right. So then you got started and you're exploring something, right? But I think that when we first started, we weren't thinking like, I'm gonna be an internet millionaire. I don't think I really register. When I first started,
you are correct. I even thought the idea of being a millionaire was far away. I thought maybe if I'm lucky to get it by 35 to 40 years old, it was more like a 50-50 thing even. And I say that as an 18-year-old. And you are right, because my intention at the time is just to put food on the table and pay bills. That was it.
Right. So, I mean, like, if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have co-authored a book with Robert G. Allen. I mean, this is like a New York Times best-selling author. This is like the person who created infopreneuring. This is like the person who get testimonials from Robert Kiyosaki, who is the same level of Tony Robbins during the days of self-help and so on, right? And here we are. So just try to capitalize on that and do something. I don't even know what else to say. All I can say is that the internet is crazy. It's something that should not be neglected.
Absolutely. So, I mean, to put it in another way, with what Patric has been sharing so far, before we dive into the third trend, I'm waiting to hear that as well. I got a guess, but let's see if we guess it right. But the thing is that despite what has happened in the last 2.5 years, I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of hardship. And I'm also not going to pretend that quite some things have went upside down for me in the last 2.5 years as well. But I always am convinced that we are still living in a very fortunate or opportunistic time like right now, because today, resources are everywhere. That's the way I'm looking at it, and along with Patric as well. So I think what's really important right now is that we have to be resourceful rather than just relying on resources, because resources are definitely already there. And with that said, Patric, maybe we just pass the time back to you and just continue with your trends.
Right. So the third trend, it is basically working virtual, or you can call it working remotely and so on. I'm not just referring to like jobs working remotely and so on, but how do you build your entire business remotely? As in like using platforms, using social media, using video conferencing and so on. So what I'm sharing with you are basically what I've observed after the pandemic. Now, all of these weren't so, I would say, so obvious prior to all these pandemic methods. So what does this mean? Well, apart from online business, if you are in an offline business, you got to learn how to operate in a virtual world right now. For instance, if you're selling insurance, financial planning, you're doing MLM, multi-level marketing, or any one-on-one selling, well, it has to go virtual right now. And in fact, when you master that, your business will actually skyrocket. For instance, if you are doing a webinar, you could reach 5 people or 500 people rather than talking to just one person. And that's one of the reasons how I was humbly successful with my network marketing business. Is because I was applying all the internet marketing strategies and social media into the game. Because I don't come from the conventional network marketing industry, I come from the internet marketing industry, but I adapt towards the MLM industry. So when we were doing the MLM, they like to call it the BizOp. If you're in the MLM niche, you understand. I understand all these jargons because I have been in there for several years. I totally get it, right? Table talk, all the strategy, all that sort of stuff. So just imagine the same thing, but apply on the internet, prospecting on the internet, presenting on the internet, closing on the internet. And that's also the reason why for the past 2 years, I wasn't quite affected in terms of my business, is because in 2013, I have shrink down my operation and I created a new concept called Operation Zero Employees. So let me just share with you this model so that you understand where I'm coming from. So I started at 20, let me just draw a timeline. I started at 2003, right? So I was doing all this internet marketing stuff, and then I start traveling all around the world to speak at seminars and all this kind of stuff, right? And at 2008, I travel all around the world. I speak for success resource. They put me in all countries. And 2008, I say, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. Because I settled down, and 2009, my firstborn baby was born, and I know what's my priority. My priority is that, hey, I want to spend more time at home or locally. So then I focus Malaysia and Singapore, and business continued to build, and then by 2015, this is what happened. 2015 was 7 years ago. So one day, I walk into my office early in the morning. This is where the thing that, there's this incident in life and just tell you, that's it, right? So I walk in the office, I remember vividly, it was like before 9 a.m., right? And I need to be there before 9 a.m. And I'll lead to that soon. And then when I go into my office, which I'm in the office right now, but right now I don't have anybody anymore, right? When I go inside, then I see all these cubicles. And I see everybody's working, and people start coming to me and asking me questions. Patric, what should I do? Do this and that. And then I have a manager where I hired from Dell. This woman works in Dell as like a manager, say, hey, come over and work with me. And then she was coming to me and telling me, hey, you gotta have SOP and all this kind of stuff. Before you send in emails, you gotta check with us first, like 1 week preparation. And then I like, shit, what is happening? Why am I in the office like before 9 a.m.? I just realized, well, I was making money. Let me just put it this way. I just created the same shit what I'm trying to avoid when I first start internet marketing, right? Where I'm not tied to an operation, to a company, employees, HR, all this kind of stuff. So at that point, I realized that, hey, I should not be in the office before 9 a.m. And I should not be managing all of this. So then I sit down, and I remember during my days where I learned self-improvement. Tony Robbins says that is a question that you ask that solve your problem. So I asked myself, how can you scale small and make more money? So it took me a while to figure that out. And then I launched this thing called Operation Zero Employees. So the plan is to have 0 employees. And in 60 days, I have successfully removed everybody from this office right now. And everyone has been compensated well. They leave, they go find other jobs. Those who were talented, they will remain. And they're part of my team right now. But we create a very different relationship. They're no longer my employees. I don't have stress. I don't need to look after them. They just do on their own stuff. They're entrepreneurs by themselves. So there's a system for that. And 2015, everything has been removed. But interesting, I was making more money then because I follow this 3 model that I teach in Operation Zero Employees: operation, automation, and campaign. And after that, I did teach this same model to some other successful marketers who are making money, but they are also having this problem, right? So I've teach some of them. They came to my house. Yes, to my house. It was a very, I would say, close relationship kind of training program, and they pay a fee for that. I think 5,000 or 10,000, not too sure. So I teach them for 3 days on how to do Operation Zero Employees, and after that, they were happier and they were making more money. So in 2015, I've already started this whole model of working remote, and that's why I wasn't being affected during the pandemic, for that matter. Of course, the effect comes in with less sales, for that matter, but it's really not that bad because we have other business operating at that moment of time. But bringing this back to the trend called virtual, this is going to happen more drastically, at least for the next 3 years.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot for sharing, Patrick. And I do not know whether you guys realize how powerful or impactful that actually is, because if you take a look, I mean, let's set aside a strategy for the time being, right? If you take a look at what happened in the last 2.5 years, and you just take a look around, and you realize most people were struggling. Like here in Malaysia, there was even a campaign at this time last year called the Bendera Putih Project, or the White Flag Project. It was so bad that people had to. You already don't have money, right? You have to sacrifice your dignity to put the white flag up. Imagine that. And not everyone can actually humble themselves down to that level, you see. And but on the other hand, it's very easy to create a perception that everyone is not doing well. But the thing is that we don't hear a lot of stories like Patric Chan, for example, that are doing the opposite, because the popular narrative at the time, and even up to today, is that most people have no money. And I think that is actually a limiting belief, and that is just not true. Me personally, I do a lot of evening walks as a habit. And one thing I just couldn't help but notice, right, is that even during the so-called lockdowns and the hardships of the last 2.5 years, right, there were strangely more and more new BMWs and Mercedes on the street. I'm like, where did these guys come from, But to me, that's a good thing, because it shows that there are people that are still doing well. There is still money to be made, because money is like energy. And if you know your science, energy cannot be destroyed, it can be transferred. So I think what Patric is sharing here is actually quite inspiring. And I like the fact that if I'm going to wrap up or summarize what he has shared, the 3 trends that is going to be here for at least the next 3 years, all right, at least the next 3 years, is that number 1, e-commerce, but specifically you have to focus on dominating the marketplace rather than AliExpress or try to be another Me Too marketer. Number 2 is e-learning industry. Now, I can personally vouch for that because that's where I am from and that's where I am in. And to answer Ng's question just now, which I believe everybody have, is that you don't have to be the super duper expert. If you cannot win on being the number 1 expert, you can win from other angles, like being probably the most entertaining. You can be the curator, as Patric had mentioned just now, and or you can be a leader towards your own surrounding community and things like that. So think of how you can be number 1 or dominate your own hill. And last but not least, number 3 is that working virtual. Now, I know some of you who have maybe do internet marketing for a long time, like Zamri. Zamri is in this call right now, and he knows both of us. And I would say that Patric and Zamri both go way back. Actually, Zamri has been around for a long time. So here's also another example of working virtual that has been around for a long time, but now it's going to be a bigger deal, because Patric, correct me if I'm also wrong, it seems that when the borders will reopen, right, the speakers and the trainers and the gurus, they try to rush back to do live events, right? And then I got no data to back this up. I'm just observing with my naked eyes, is that quite some of them, after going to live event, they call it retreat back to webinar, like what you did also. Do you see that happening with other people also?
I'm not too sure about the attendance rate, but I'm pretty sure that it definitely should be less. But I think eventually it will pick up back to normal. However, there's this option of doing virtual right now. You see, it's not, okay, let me put it this way. If it's a workshop, right, then it can be better in terms of getting more sales. But in terms of an event, then we got to see strategically what is the purpose of doing the event. So a live event, as in an offline event, has different advantages and of course disadvantages in comparison to online. For instance, right, I would say do an offline event once a year, and we usually have, for the past 10 years, we kept our event is usually just about 200 people. And the reason why I keep it at that cap is because I want to focus on delivering real value, because we try to make everybody happy in that sense. We'll still have that because primary, the reason why we have an offline event, it is to serve our Malaysia audience and Singapore audience, as in our customers. Most of our attendees are usually our students or our customers, or at least those who are so-called familiar with my brand, for that matter. So we still do that, and that is like an extension of branding. We don't really make money from our live event. I know it sounds kind of crazy, right? But we don't really make money from our live events. If you binge our live events, you will see that the pitch are so lousy that it doesn't even convert to that degree, right? So, but we still do it. But if we are focusing on getting sales, then probably the online will be a better option.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Patric. I think that's quite insightful. And not only it also validates what I've been thinking all along, but I hope that this is also a new insight to those of you who are in this call live right now. So yeah, those are the big three here. And I mean, even personally for me, I thought it was very interesting that Patric shared about his Operation Zero employees, or how he used to run a brick and mortar business, if I can call it. A brick and mortar means he went from online, and then he has an office with staff, and then he went back to working virtual again. That was exactly what I did, just at a different time frame, because we're looking at the year that he did his Operation Zero employee was the year I went into offline. So when he was just on his way out, I was on my way in, and then I went out again due to the pandemic, in a sense that I would say that we let go of the office, because office at the end of the day, it feels more like a vanity piece rather than serving a real purpose. Like, does it actually help with sales or not? I found that not to be true, because end of the day, clients and customers, they want results. They don't care about the place, which is good in a way. And office, if anyone is to rent an office, anyone can just rent anywhere nowadays. In fact, the most important asset to the company is, of course, the business system and the people that run it. And you don't have to hire employees in a very traditional sense. So it can be VA or VE, that means virtual assistant or virtual employees, which is what Patric is leveraging on both of them. And as for me personally, I do leverage on VEs, virtual employees, and also I do collaborate with a digital agency nearby. And guys, if you haven't realized, Patric and I are on both ends of the island, or on both ends of the peninsula. He's in Penang and I'm all the way in Johor. So we are like covering both ends actually, and I work with quite a bit of Singaporeans. But anyways, right, I think we've asked Patric what needs to be covered so far as the team goes. But hey, if you have any questions for Patric, now is the time to ask, and don't let this go. Otherwise, you end up like me and Robert G. Allen in several years ago as well. You can have a big guy sitting next to you and not realize you could be doing something with him. And right now, Patric is sitting literally in front of your computer screen. AMA, ask me anything, or rather ask him anything right now. All right. But for me, on my side, probably just one more question, because like I said, you have actually answered a lot in advance, which means you're very, very on point. Okay, this is more for the I would say the common person. Now, common person means to say that, imagine if it is you from the newbie days, right? But now it's 2022, so there are like a lot of newbies right now. And they've obviously been affected. They've been battered in the last 2.5 years. And I think you may have come across people like that who maybe used to do well in their job, or maybe they had a successful business, keyword past tense, had a successful business, and then with what has happened in the last 2.5 years, people start to lose confidence in themselves, and they're not sure how to pick themselves up again, even though there's a lot of opportunities in front of them. Do you have any words of encouragement for this kind of people or not?
Right. I think that okay, so then there's this mindset part, which I'm not the expert about that, right? But then there's another part where what you should be doing aspect that I can talk about. Anyway, if you see me drinking a lot of water, I usually don't drink so much, but I just finished playing my basketball game and I'm like so thirsty.
Help yourself first, no worries.
I haven't finished my entire bottle right now. That's what I do. I play I play basketball. I really enjoy the game a lot. So the thing here is that the first thing that I think that you want to keep in mind is that don't look at this like a quick rich thing, like you do something and then you have total breakthrough sort of stuff. For instance, right? Again, anyway, just so you know, I'm a fan for crypto as well. I'm not against crypto. Well, I'm just trying to make a point here. Then there are people who say they already don't have money, but then they hear about, oh, this crypto is only like 5 cents, and then maybe this can go to like $5. So I'm going to put more money inside there, and hopefully, I'm going to be I'm going to ride on another Bitcoin sort of thing, right? That is a quick rich mentality. Don't do that, right? Now, if you have surplus of money, then yes, you can buy that crypto if you understand what does the crypto does. Like for instance, if you want to buy Solana right now because you understand the purpose of Solana, the blockchain and all this kind of stuff, yeah, maybe you can buy. But you gotta do your due diligence. Don't just go ahead and buy. Same thing with NFTs and so on. So that's the first thing. Remove the whole quick rich thing. The second thing that you want to do is that you got to know how to invest. And the right investment that can never go wrong, they'll always be with you, is investing in yourself, not in Meta or in a house or something like that. Invest in yourself, because if you make use of that, that is yours forever. And that can help you to recover very fast. Now, investing in yourself comes in 3 aspects in terms of you improving yourself. The first one is the whole mindset game, which is so critical. But I don't have the expertise to teach you how to do that, right? But you got to have that. You got to have this mindset that you're willing to do the work. You got to have this mindset that you're not going to give up. You got to have this mindset that you are optimistic, right? You got to have that. So whether you get a course, you get a book, you get a seminar, I don't care. But you got to invest in yourself for that, right? Invest in time, invest in money to have that. The second kind of investing in yourself is the know-how knowledge. The know-how knowledge is your specialized skill. Like for instance, if you learn about email marketing, you know how to do email marketing, you can make money from emails. If you learn about social media, you have this expertise on how to do social media to get traffic and all this kind of stuff. So this is the know-how. This is very, very important. But of course, you will only succeed in the know-how if you invest in yourself in terms of the mindset part, right? The same concept, why if we have, say, 10 people attend our workshop, 2 people successful and 8 people don't achieve success, where they all have the same know-how knowledge. So do you understand why the first part is so important now, right? Now, once you have done this, the third kind of investing is invest in having someone to coach you. If you can have that, that would be ideal, because the coach makes sure that you are progressing the right way. So if you have the mindset, the motivation, and then you have this know-how knowledge, but when you are doing it, you're not too sure whether you're doing right or not. How would you know you're doing right or not? you need to have a coach to help you guide that. I think Edmund has a coaching program. You can ask him if he's still accepting students or not, but that's what you should do. Now, for me, I don't invest in coaching, not because that I don't need a coach. It's because I invest in the first two buckets. And for me, I will seek a mentor rather than a coach, right? Because I have the so-called self-discipline to take action. Nobody needs to check on me. And I have the know-how knowledge of what to do. I don't need a coach to tell me what to do, right? But I need a mentor as well. A mentor will know to tell me things that I don't even know. That's a whole different game. So when you start investing in yourself, right, this is where you overcome all of these challenges that you have, because it is about you being resourceful, especially on the internet. So that I think I could sum it all that you have total control on how your financial path is going to be from here. It's not about the government. It's not about your job. It's not about that. You have control because there's this thing called the internet.
That's quite a great insight, Patric. All right, just a couple of quick questions from our attendees. Maybe we start off with Eng first and then followed by Wally real quick. So Eng says here, do you think email marketing is not effective already compared to WhatsApp? What is your opinion?
Do you think email marketing is not effective? I think email marketing is still effective. It depends on what niche that you are in. So WhatsApp is effective because you're reaching to them personally. But then again, today I just received some spam WhatsApp from some stranger asking me to get loan or something like that, right? So it's not going to be effective too. What's effective is called permission marketing. What's effective is you build your brand and your audience, your prospect is looking forward to see your brand. That is what effective marketing is. Emails or WhatsApp, it is just the platforms.
Yeah, that's definitely very true indeed, because it's not so much about the medium, but the message is more important. Doesn't matter whether it comes from email or WhatsApp. That's a very good example. And Wally asked this question, which I kind of think that it's really been answered by what you have just given just now. He was asking about what should we do right now in a situation to make it last long for the next 3 to 5 years. So this is something that you had just shared just now in terms of the importance of investing in yourself rather than only on external forces. Because if you don't invest in yourself, why should anyone else invest in you? So I think that would kind of like handle in itself. However, with that said, right, before I got on this sharing session with Patric, I'm not sure if you guys realize, those of you who are on my email list, right, even from a few months ago, I had been endorsing Patric Chan's, at the time, he was running the Internet to Income number 9. And that means we ran a total of 9 events under the same banner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
each year we did one for the almost 10 years. Yeah,
exactly. So one more to go with that. But anyways, it was the 9 this year, which was like long time coming, if not for the lockdowns. So I had endorsed it, and I had a good time over there, by the way. I had a good time meeting people for the first time in a long time. And I went there with the intention to also learn from Patric in person as well. Even though it was for 2 days, but it was 2 fun days. And wow, that was it felt like only a while ago, but that was already like a few months ago already. But there's a great news though, because Patric did inform me not that long ago that he has started to release the recordings on it as well. So maybe Patric, for the benefit of our audience here, okay, wait, first of all, guys, how many of you want to are curious to know about the Internet to Income 9 recordings by Patric? Just type number 1 into the chat box right now. All right. If you don't type number 1, or someone type number 2, maybe he's like super excited instead. Okay, all right. Anyone else? Okay, I see a couple more here as well, even though it's written to the host only. All right. Okay, yeah, we got that. Okay, guys, those of you that are interested, we'll tell you more about it. And what's happening here is because of this, because Patric had recorded the trainings and he has decided to release them. And to my understanding, right, he doesn't do it all the time. And number 2, let's also be realistic and fair. There's only so much we can share, or Patric can share in just 1 hour. And I caught him here just because he feels like doing it or he's willing to do it. But in all fairness, he's normally paid to do this kind of thing. Let's be very fair. If you're good at something, you want to do it for free most of the time, okay? But he's been very, very generous. And some of you ask questions like, okay, NFTs, what about it? Is there like some kind of like, can we get more out, Patric? If you learn more from Patric in just 1 hour, right? What if you can learn more from him in like several hours for that matter? So since we have quite a lot of indication of interest here, Patric, maybe just casually tell us about the recordings.
Sure. You can also check it out to simplify. Everybody can do it together. You can go to this URL, edmundlow.com I2I9. All right. So if you can go there right now, it will be easier for me to share with you about it at the same time. All right. So here's the thing. There's just so many things that we cover in that 2 days. Now, if you find insightful this 1 hour, imagine extend that for 2 days that I spend my time with my customers and my audience, my own followers. Again, I only do Internet to Income 9, not because of trying to pitch and sell and stuff like that, but just so that my customer can learn directly with me and interact with me, ask me questions, and so it's more like a branding aspect. And this round, Internet to Income 9, we focus on post-pandemic, and I cover in-depth about the 3 trends. I cover about e-commerce. I cover about work at home business with affiliate marketing. I literally show how my landing page looks like, how we promote our email follow-ups and all this kind of stuff. Those are more internet marketing stuff. Then I also teach 2 other stuff. One, it's about creating your own digital product, but not creating costs, but how to do a live event and turn that into a business. And that is following the 3 trends. And that it will be the fastest way for you to build a database, to build a list, and also to build your brand. Again, I go in depth about that. And then the other aspect, I've also touched about NFTs. So there are 2 aspects of NFTs. One is basically, what is NFTs? And the second part is that, can you still flip NFTs to make money? So I actually cover the 4 rules. If you're going to do flipping for NFTs, you can still do that, but you're going to follow these 4 rules. And after that, I teach one of the most exciting things of all. It's called NFTs for Creator. How do you mint your own NFT collection? So instead of you buying NFTs to sell or buying to keep, what if you can also create your own NFTs? And how does NFTs for creators actually work for businesses? How would that work for digital marketers? How would that work for content creators? So we cover all of that in that 2 days. And what we're offering here right now is ridiculous. Usually, if I do a webinar like this, we'll sell some kind of like coaching program or mastermind and stuff like that. We're not doing any of that, because when we had this conversation with Emma and saying that, you know what, Emma, we're not going to do any of that. Let's just get on a Zoom without any slides and whatsoever, and let's just talk, right? Let's do like a Gary Vaynerchuk style, because I don't want to do slides. I don't want to do presentation. I just want to be myself and teach. And I want to be here to answer questions like a Gary V style, so that we can display our expertise. Like, we know our stuff and we're not relying on like some bullet points and all this kind of stuff. So we're not offering you like some high level stuff. This is like, I don't want to tell you the price because this is recording, because in the future the price could increase, and it will definitely be increased. But today, right now, it's you know what? Can we still remove off this part? You know what? Let's just not make it complicated.
Yeah. So okay, I get the what's going on here. So guys, the reason why we have some reservation of mentioning is because Patric is actually already underpricing it already, and as of this time right now, he's planning to increase the price. This is not a gimmick, by the way. It's for real. He told me from last week already. He's going to raise it very, very soon. So it may be like 24 hours from now. So we don't want to mention it, partly because we want to tease you as well. So how about this? If all of you right now take a look at the chat box, there is a link over there. All right. So if you click on the link, you'll go to a website called the Internet to Income 9 recording. So the details are already there. We'll let you go check it out. And we'll let you see the final price for your own. All right. But this final price, okay, it's not exactly final, it's more like an intro price to be exact. All right. But after that, the price will increase indefinitely. And I'm sure you want to avoid paying more, right? So you want to avoid paying more, I recommend that you join tonight. and get into the recordings. So with that said, I know there was one question that someone had asked. I think it's a very valid question. What he had asked, what will be the learning outcome? Now, of course, I say you can become a super duper millionaire, but with a condition, if you apply it, all right, if you apply it. So, but of course, without being cheeky or being trying to be funny for that reason, I think let's answer him in a grounded way. Patric, in your own words, what can we expect?
I would say the knowledge, the information, the strategy I shared inside the today's event can help someone to become a millionaire, just like me reading this book to become an internet millionaire. Right, I'll tell you that for sure. The content, it is this level, but what you do with it, I completely don't know whatsoever. And I'm not going to like over pitch you and things like that, because it's offered at really ridiculous price, right? And if you don't have the confidence in what that we have for you, then don't get it, right? I'm not saying that from a standpoint of being arrogant or whatever. I'm saying that from a standpoint of I want to be total honest with you, because I so believe in the value that we're delivering for you right now. And I never release the recordings ever. Internet to Income 1, Internet to Income 2, Internet to Income 3. We never release that. Why? Because the content and strategy is so valuable that it's only kept for those who are willing to attend live. That's it. That's the only reason for that. And why did I release it right now? Well, I'm going to tell you something shocking, which I would think again in the future, should I ever do this or not? Well, because we're doing Internet to Income X, the 10, the grand scale and the most epic one, somewhere in November. And I set out a new challenge for myself. You know, there's this saying that, if you don't put yourself into this uncomfortable spot, you cannot have a breakthrough. Yes, this is what I did. When I released the recordings at this insane low price, so many people has gotten it right and start watching the training as well. Which means that in X, the 10 event, I cannot repeat the same content anymore. I literally need to put myself in a very uncomfortable zone to come up with new things to teach, new strategies, everything new for that matter. That's why I'm doing that. And also, when you check out the recordings right now, I would highly recommend that you include Internet to Income X advanced booking, because we're making it very affordable. After this, we're not going to allow this add-on anymore. Now, when is after this? After we know where we're going to do the event. It's going to be in Kuala Lumpur, but I'm not too sure where's the venue yet. So we're taking advanced booking right now because we just want to know the size of attendance at this moment of time. So we literally lose money for every ticket that we sold for X right now. But we'll make back later on when it's officially launched for Internet to Income X. So I highly suggest you to take that up. And if you could not attend last minute, I think it's going to be on the 19th or 20th of November, something like that. Well, just drop us an email a week before and we'll return you your money. I don't want your money if you could not attend the event. You get to keep it back. That is my guarantee for you. But right now, if you include the ticket, it will give you a very special discount at this moment of time. So that's the reason why I'm doing this right now, right? But going back to the question, like what would I get? Now, it's exactly what I promised on the webpage. It's all listed there. And what I've covered earlier, all of the things, including teaching the strategic aspect of the trends to how to mint your own NFTs.
Oh, wow. That's very, how I say, that's quite a bit of thinking, knowing that you're planning to do number 10 in the same way. I think that has never happened before, right? Because before this, you did like once a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can understand why you got to make up for that 2 years. Yeah, we got to do that. But guys, I think this is a great opportunity for the rest of you who's, okay, whether you're going to, you're interested in the live event or not, that we can discuss that. But I think the fact that right now, why wait when you can actually act right now? So again, the link, I'm going to just paste it one last time into the chat box for those of you that really want to get it. It's just right over there. And by the way, access is going to be instant. You don't have to wait. So the moment you make a purchase, you can get in right off the bat and you can check it even as early as tonight. So on that note, Patric, I just want to thank you for your time. And if you have any last words you'd like to share with everyone before we just end this sharing session.
Right. I think that when it comes to, I'm referring to the comments that I saw Zamri's comment, and you mentioned about Zamri as well earlier that he has been doing internet marketing for a while. In fact, we just did a webinar together with kclau.com, and he went through the entire training, the recordings, and he said he has also learned so many new things. I remember that when you mentioned that you are also learning, even experts are learning. Like for instance, when I did my Operation Zero employees, those who attended the training was Wally Mulia, creator for Zaza.com. And after that, he revamped his business and becomes remote. And Albert Leonardo, the #1 Facebook guru in Indonesia, he is a master of Facebook. He's much more better than me. And then he came for Operation Zero employees. And we have many other experts, gurus who were trained. So the thing is that, right, I'm sure that whether you are a beginner or a newbie or an experienced marketer, I'm pretty sure that you will learn at least one or two ideas or strategies from that 2 days. And that could lead you to make your next million. Who knows, right? So that's one thing. So I think that it is suitable for everyone here. The next part is this, is that the so-called parting advice is that, going back to what we have covered, you need to invest in yourself. That is the only path for you to beat inflation and everything else. Now, I'm not too sure whether during the inflation, your salary has increased or not. Some do, right, which is great, but it will never be at par with the cost of living that is increasing. You got to have the expertise to actually beat the inflation. And savings, it's not going to be the answer for that at this kind of time anymore. And if you are from Malaysia, well, obviously, you want to invest in yourself to know how to create your side hustle or your online business on the internet to start earning USD. I do not know what's the currency today, but the last one I checked, $1 was 4 ringgit and 50 cents. So I'm not too sure how far it's still gonna be, but you gotta start thinking in USD. So there you go.
All right. Thanks for the enlightenment and a reminder on the currency exchange. It's some people, they find it depressing, but some of us, we find it exciting. So to quote another friend who said this before, you can either make money or you can make excuses. And I think we all know what we want to make from now on, right? Okay. So again, Patric, thanks a lot for your wonderful time. I mean, if you asked me many years ago, I would have envisioned that we'll get on a call like this, because I know I've heard about you for a long time, seen you around. Definitely, we took some pictures before, but it was more like a high and buy kind of connection, so to speak. And even in this casual sharing, right, I've got like quite some ideas. So sometimes if you see both my hands are somewhere else because I'm writing or something, and to work based on what little idea that you have shared. And for the rest of you, I hope that you got some aha moments. And I think most importantly, right, the big takeaway from it is that there's a lot of opportunities for you guys. And to say that you're a newbie or you know what has happened in the last 2.5 years, those things we can put it behind us, and we can all start anew and look forward to greater, bigger things to come for everyone. You are in your own control, not the politicians, not the government, not what's happening in the world. So thanks again, everyone, for making it here. And on that note, I'll be ending this sharing session, and you guys, more power to you and take care. Bye.